must choose your weapon. Your choices are as follows: singing, speaking, teaching, preaching, reaching. Any and everything to exploit and promote the gospel. That will represent the good of God for the kingdom of God. But there is a fate that is strange but true. If you cannot choose a weapon, then allow the weapon to choose you. I once met a prophet whose weapon of choice was walking. And through his walking, he did his talking. Through his talking, he did his teaching. Through his teaching, he did his preaching. Through his preaching, he did his reaching. And through his reaching, the hand of God, he did his touching. Touching the souls of every child, woman, and man to reconnect the disconnect is the eternal global plan. To reunite the relationship between God and man, for damage control is the prime objective of this goal. The objective has already been done. For over 2,000 years ago on Calvary, this war was won. That is the gospel. That is true. All that is left is to share it with me and you, and to spread this good news to all the land. To every boy, girl, woman, and man, that glory of God and not sin dominates this land. No matter how wicked and dangerous it may seem, the sovereign of God is a living dream. The evidence is shown. Linked to the touching is the reaching. That is linked to the teaching. That is linked to the talking. That is linked to the walking. Upon the tired feet and blistered soles of the prophet that has walked and will be walking for days, periodically taking breaks, but the only rest he will have lays in the grave. And the grave is a doorway to the throne, where God will announce, "Good and faithful soldier, welcome home." Augusta Williams Jr., copyrighted December 2017, dedicated to the Global Walk Ministry of Danny Garcia.
We didn't take any ourselves. Our photographer was concerned that he had COVID, because several of the people that he works with have it, so he didn't want to contaminate anybody.
Right.
So he said, I have to go in quarantine.
Danny, let's put it out first. Let's put it out first, and let's do this. And what we're going to do is we're just going to hold it here, and we're going to ask Barry to play taps. So for those of you who don't know, taps is normally played when there is a military funeral, and it's very somber, and it has, each note is very, very clear, and it's piercing. And this is a real treat for us to have Barry here from Beagles Across America. So Barry, we'll turn it over to you.
Barry, I would like to have you right here next to me. And I would like to ask you to play it one more time. And I want you in the picture. And the other thing is, I understand in Vietnam there were over 58,000 military men and women that died. And sometimes there's a tendency that we forget. I haven't forgotten them. When I walk for them, and I walk for their children, so that they know. So there's also a lot of people that have passed from COVID. And I would like you to play this again, but in mind, think of all those people that you know or may not know who are no longer with us today physically, but they'll probably be here spiritually. So
this flag folding ceremony. And every fold represents something about our country. It represents motherhood. It represents fatherhood. It represents the sacrifices that our men and women in uniform have made. And when we fold this, it has the shape of a triangle, and that triangle is meant to represent the hat of the Continental Army.
When I was in the Marine Corps, and I was stationed in Corpus Christi, Texas, they were sending a lot of guys, they were pulling a lot of guys that were O3s. O3 meant infantry. And so if you had any kind of a job as an infantryman, you're going to Vietnam. And one by one, they were pulling us, and we were going. And then sometimes a month later or 2 months later, they would come back, and they would come back in a box. And my job was to honor them and their families and present them with this flag. And some guys were in a closed box, they call it, which means you're not allowed to see them because they couldn't put the pieces together. So it was a closed casket. And when the colors came down, you had to make sure that the flag did not hit the ground, because if it did, we had a major or a colonel that was looking at the window above to make sure that we did the colors right. If you made a mistake, you lose a strike. It was that simple. There's no game. And one thing about the Marine Corps is they don't play the game. This is very serious business. Every aspect of it, everything that you do, everything that you learn, you have to execute it properly. Whether there's a few people here, like today, or whether there are thousands of people, like I've been involved in. Now, we got two flags. We're going to fold another one, but this one, we're going to present this to somebody here. And the first person we're going to present this to is to Gus. The Lord told me, because you're in the military of the Lord, and you serve the Lord, and you served one of His. Ever since the first day I met you, I knew that God put you in my life for a reason. So this is one way that God is letting you know, Gus, I've got your back. Because you've always been out there talking about Him. Number one, first, always. You're always inspiring and encouraging. So on behalf of the Lord that I serve and we serve, I'd like to present you with our flag in remembrance. Gus, this is a confirmation that you can walk. And not only you can walk, you are walking. Because He's given you the grace to do that. So thank you. On behalf of a grateful nation, we thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
And I like your salute. They call that a short timer salute.